It's 24 of them actually, but it's a deck that actually gets the game started pretty early because it does have Doom Traveler, Champion of the Parish, Cartel Aristocrat, Xanther Necromancer, all these things that kind of start before turn 4. For Herrera's side, he needs to keep those things kind of off the board and clear so that his Burning Earths are actually going to be able to do something. Again, I don't think the Burning Earths are going to be great in this matchup. I wouldn't be surprised to see him board them out just because he's playing against a more aggressive archetype when Burning Earth is much better against mid-range and control strategies. That being said, when you look at the other cards in Herrera's deck, he's got 4 Ash Zealot, 4 Chandra's Phoenix, 4 Boros Reckoner, 3 Hell Rider, 3 Thundermaw Hellkite. Reckoner, fantastic in this matchup. 4 Pillar of Flame, 4 Searing Spear, 3 Brimstone Volley, and 2 Chandra Pyromaster. So the non-Burning Earth cards are actually pretty good. I think there's going to be a heavy reliance on having Boros Reckoner kind of gum up the ground, and then Chandra's Phoenix and Thundermaw Hellkite get in the air to actually finish the game off, and the Burning Spell's kind of picking apart the synergies that take place in the Aristocrats. For Defiore's side, he's basically moved back to level 1 of the Aristocrats, or Act 1, if you will. There's no Blasphemous Axe here in his main deck, and you don't see even Boros Reckoner. It's a much more human-centric strategy with, again, the Necromancer, Champion of the Parish. There's some High Priests here. There's also 4 Falkenrath Aristocrats, but he has Gathered the Townsfolk as well. So he's very human-centric, not combo-centric like we've seen the Brad Nelson, Jacob Van Lunen version of Act 2. So it's pretty straightforward. He's more of an aggressive deck, and it's Herrera's job to make sure he doesn't die quickly.
Yeah. So I think the players are just about set, and we're underway. Turn 1 Mountain from Joe Herrera. And pass. Defiore has a Clifftop Retreat, passes back, so no turn 1 play for either player, despite the prevalence of them in both decks. Mostly, I'm thinking Doom Traveler on Defiore's side.
That could be a significant thing there too. The Clifftop Retreat being his first play, because it looks like he's on a Buddy Land draw. Searing Spear is going to take care of the Champion of the Parish, which means like he's kind of working a turn behind. Obviously, you'd much rather have Champion of the Parish on turn 1 as opposed to turn 2. Now here's a Boros Reckoner to start gumming things up on the ground, also having a difficult to block attacker. And you see there's a Dragon Skull Summon in Defiore's hand as well now. So he's off to a much slower start. He's looking for one of those dual lands so that those Buddy Lands actually do come into play untapped right away.
Yeah, it's buddy as far as we can tell. Looks like he's got something else there. Looks like Slayer's Stronghold. So another Champion of the Parish and a Gather the Townsfolk will pump that champion immediately.
So it's going to turn into a 3/3 champion. 2 human tokens are going to come into play. And now he's starting to build, one of the big things for this deck is building a sizable champion. That's kind of step 1. That's how you want to get the door opened up. Problem here is that Boros Reckoner is at the ready.
Yeah.
To just get in the way. And Reckoner is a tough thing for this deck to be able to get through. There are 4 Tragic Slips and 1 Dreadbore to take care of a Reckoner, but while Reckoner is holding the ground, it allows Herrera to, maybe get a Chandra Pyromaster online, maybe attack with the Boros Reckoner and play another one, which I think we might be seeing happening here in a minute.
Well, he plays his 4th land here. Of course, he's mono mountains besides 3 Mutavaults. So these are all mountains so far.
It's certainly an aggressive attack, that's for sure.
A Reckoner in the red zone.
I'm interested to see what the follow-up is going to be here. Because, Defiore is already at 17, so it looks like he has not blocked. He's just taking the damage.
That's what I was suspecting.
And a block here, I think, would be... it actually wouldn't be horrible. Like, you would trade a champion and, like, a Gather token, is what I would assume, is 2 Pillar Flames are going to take down the champion. He's going to pass the turn back. But having to use 2 Pillar Flames there, while fine, it makes it so that, like, Xanther Necromancer is actually pretty good now, if that does show up this turn. There's definitely a cost to using 2 pillars there. But it feels like to me maybe Herrera has like a Thundermaw Hellkite and he just wants to clear the board a little bit and then get to the skies.
Just buying time until he can kind of set up his end game. 2 cards I'm excited to see in Joe's list. Brimstone Volley, which we've seen kind of surprisingly little of since it was printed. I kind of thought we were going to see a lot of Brimstone Volleys. And then, of course, the new red Planeswalker, Chandra Pyromaster.
Yep.
Love seeing these new cards in action. Xanther Necromancer on the other side. Another card that I'm excited to see. Ooh, let's see if he's got it now. Cartel Aristocrat is the play from Defiore.
So Herrera draws a mountain. Coming in again, so not
no
afraid.
Hellkite, I'm guessing, considering he has his 5th land. And no play.
His hand right now is a Pillar of Flame and a Mountain, and he's just getting really aggressive with the Boros Reckoner instead of sitting back, which, you know, I'm actually kind of in favor of at this point. He might have to start attacking eventually, but I kind of like that he's just continuously getting in here.
So Defiore's play here taps 2 lands, and there, I believe,
It's a Blood Artiste.
is a Blood Artist. Nice foil Blood Artist. Either that or just really super glare. But I think it's a foil.
All Buddy lands. An Isolated Chapel, too. No duels come across for 4. Blood Artist representing a lot of damage in this matchup. I think Herrera does have a Pillar of Flame in his hand, so he's going to be able to take care of that. And now, ooh, there's the one of Dreadboard to take care of the Boros Reckoner.
So
there's a
Reckoner,
Blood Artist trigger, too.
Reckoner off the table. Defiore hits for another 1 there with that Blood Artist, as you mentioned. Defiore is taking pretty sizable chunks out of Herrera's life total. And Herrera's follow-up play, Burning Earth, and Pillar your Blood Artist. So, see the thing here though, Defiore's got 4 power worth of guys on the table. He has no reason to really tap mana at this point.
Yep.
I think, you know.
And that's the big issue with Burning Earth in this matchup, is he's able to get underneath it before it comes online. Defiore right now, there's a Blood Artist in play that's being targeted by Pillar, so he just should sacrifice it to the Cartel Aristocrat to get the damage instead of having it be exiled. Nothing would occur, which he does see, and he passes the turn back. Now, you know, the thing here for Defiore too is because he's at 16, is he's not afraid to tap any lands either. You know, he can activate Slayer's Stronghold or, you know, play some more spells now because his life total is so high. So that's part of the reason I just don't really like Burning Earth in this particular matchup, is because he just slides underneath it pretty easily. As you mentioned, there's already 4 power on the table, and Burning Earth's out here, so it's not really doing very much.
Yeah, so here he goes. He activates a Slayer Stronghold, so he takes 3 to deal an extra 2. But, you know, he's making his way, and he's going to take another. So he's down to 12 as well, plays a Doom Traveler. And Joe Herrera appears to be pretty close to dead on board when you account for that Slayer Stronghold. Well, yeah. He is dead on board when you account for the Slayer Stronghold if he doesn't have a play here. He does have a Pillar.
Yeah, Pillar's not going to be great here, though. That's the issue. You know, whatever he targets, it's not really going to matter very much. He targets Cartel Aristocrat, Defiore sacrifices a creature, targets a Doom Traveler, he sacrifices that, gets a Spirit token. He's going to have 5 power, and then the Slayer Stronghold activation is going to get the job done, assuming that he does use it, because Herrera is representing a spell at this moment.
Sure. So let's see what Defiore decides. Does he activate the Stronghold and go for the win here? With 5 power worth of guys, his opponent on 6. That Slayer Stronghold represents the win.
Yeah. See if he pulls the trigger.
Yeah, so here's the attack. Attack and no blocks.
And the target should be Cartel Aristocrat here for the Slayer Stronghold. Yep, and that's going to do it. So, looks like Michael Defiore wins game number 1 with the Aristocrat. That's a newer version of it, more human-centric, over Joe Herrera playing Mono Red. Pretty easy game 1.
Yeah, I mean, Defiore, things went the way he wanted them to. You know, he kind of just set things up, like you said, kind of set things up early, got in under that Burning Earth that, you know, it would have been nice to have a clear board to land that Burning Earth, but, you know, in the situation that he actually played it, his opponent had all the pressure.
Yeah, and that's what I think is going to happen a pretty high percentage of the time in the matchup. So, again, not surprised to see Burning Earth be pretty mediocre here against a more aggressive strategy. Again, more suited to beating mid-range and control strategies. So, probably going to sideboard that up, but we'll get to the sideboards in a minute because it's trivia time.
Yes, it's trivia time.
I'm going to let you explain the rules because I'm going to ask the questions.
That sounds like a great plan. So, if you haven't participated before, we here at SCG Live like to give away premium content, not just premium content, I'm sorry, premium access.
Yes.
Premium subscription for, you know, X amount of months, depending on which bracket, or not bracket, which stage of the top 8 we're in. So last night in the quarterfinals, we gave away 3 months of premium. We're going to give away 6 months of premium now here in the semifinals. Cedric's going to ask you guys a question.
It's going to be a doozy.
It's going to be tough. You're going to have to get out your Encyclopedia Britannicas for this one.
Ooh, like
dust them off.
Yeah.
So, assuming you don't have the internet. So, Cedric's going to ask you guys a question. You will just tweet the answer and include the hashtag SCG Premium, which you can kind of see down there. And if you have a correct answer, you'll be in the running to be randomly selected as the winner of 6 months of Star City Games Premium. So, Cedric, what do you got for us?
All right, Joe Herrera's sideboard.
That's a really tough question.
Yeah, I want all 15 cards right now. In Joe Herrera's sideboard, he has a 4 of. He only has one 4 of. But it's a unique 4 of, as you're looking at it right now. And basically, just name the 4 of in Joe Herrera's sideboard. He has one 4 of. It's a unique card. I'll give you a hint. It costs 2 mana, and it's something that we don't see a lot of in Standard, if at all. I have very rarely seen this card in Standard or even in its limited format. So, again, Joe Herrera's sideboard has one 4 of. It's a rather unique card that does cost 2 mana. So if you can name that card, hashtag your answer on Twitter with the hashtag of SCG Premium. Again, we will announce the winner at the conclusion of the semifinals.
Yeah.
And that winner will get 6 months of premium.
Yeah, that's simple as that. We're going to give away a whole year in the finals shortly.
So he is. He is.
And you are. You're not?
No, just you.
Just me? I'm going to give away a year of premium. You're giving it away in Legacy?
Yeah, sure.
Along with dual lands, right?
Yeah. Yeah, those grow on trees, so that's fine. And it's nice outside, so yeah, we can definitely do that. Let's take a look at the sideboards, my friend.
We should probably not look at Joe's sideboard. You can give away the answer.
We'll look at that card. Okay, we'll look at Joe's sideboard last.
That sounds good.
So that they could forget the card.
Yeah.
So we'll look at Defiore's sideboard first. 2 War Priest of Thune, a Sin Collector, 2 Sorin Lord of Innistrad, 3 Intangible Virtue, 3 Lingering Souls, 1 Appetite for Brains, 3 Mark of Mutiny. Taking a look at this. As far as cards I like in this matchup, yes, Sorin's okay, but it's actually not great.
Right, it's like a late game. I mean, the lifelink guys are what I think of being reasonable and making some more.
Yeah, I mean the lifelink guys are they're like fine, but at the same time it's 4 mana for a 1/1 lifelinker, and then maybe you make an emblem. I mean it can put the pressure on the opponent just because it'd be a 4 mana. Give all your creatures +1/+0. It's just like okay, and unsurprisingly in this matchup, there's nothing that's going to stand out in the sideboard for Defiore that's just I'm here to beat this big red type archetype.
Right.
That's not much of a surprise. So now you're just looking for ways to go about doing that. The one Appetite for Brains I actually kind of like here is it takes care of Thundermaw Hellkite. It can take care of Hellrider, and depending on what Herrera's sideboard's in, Chandra Pyromaster as well. So that could be okay. And it's nice that he only has one of them as opposed to like 3 or 4 to sideboard in, because I think additional copies have diminishing returns. Lingering Souls I actually kind of like because you're playing against a deck that doesn't actually have Bonfire in it or Mizium Mortars to overload.
Just Thundermaw is the dangerous card for Lingering Souls.
And only 3 of those, oddly enough.
Yes.
So I actually kind of like Lingering Souls because there's not a high density of cards that actually embarrass it in this matchup from Herrera's side. Intangible Virtue's alright. Sin Collector is actually probably pretty good. But again, there's nothing that really stands out here as being a great card in this matchup. One thing I was actually looking for is just additional removal spells in this sideboard, like additional Dreadbores to take care of Boros Reckoners, because I feel like that card's kind of the annoyance. Fortunately for Defiore, he drew his one Dreadbore last game to take care of Boros Reckoner, no muss, no fuss, and then just finished off Herrera. So.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. On Herrera's side, he's got 3 copies of Rolling Temblor, 2 Zealous Conscripts, 3 Ratchet Bomb, 4 Curses of Pierced Heart, and 3 Mizium Mortars. So I imagine it's a strange thing, but against a deck that plays cards like Blood Artist and is so resilient to removal, but I imagine you really just want to bring in kind of more ways to clear the way for your red guys. Kind of as you saw him doing early in the last game. What do you think? We got Ratchet Bomb as an option. We've got Rolling Temblor as an option. It's 4 mana, but it helps sweep the board.
I like loading up on the removal spells here. I like loading up on Mortars.
Mizium Mortars.
Yeah. I like Mortars, I like Ratchet Bomb, I like Rolling Tumbler. I like having these ways to load up on massive removal spells in this matchup. Ratchet Bomb has some versatility on where it can sit and make things a little bit difficult. I feel like Ratchet Bomb more often than not in this matchup is going to be for 0. Just take care of tokens.
Which is the best way you want to... it's the... that feels the best when you play Ratchet Bomb for 0. And it's effective, right?
I like having Ratchet Bomb for that purpose almost alone.
Mm-hmm.
The question here is, that's 9 cards, and we're looking for cards to sideboard out, so that's where things get a little bit more difficult. I think 4 Burning Earth is going to be immediate. I don't love Hellrider in this matchup because I think that Defiore's deck does a nice job of just gumming up the ground. So I don't think the Hellrider's ever really going to get through. And also, I just don't think the matchup is about Hellrider in general. So there you're looking at 7 cards. And then you can make the argument for, like, Brimstone Volley coming out because it's just the most expensive of your spot removal spells. You want Pillar of Flame because exiling something is actually quite good here. You want Searing Spear to be able to chase down like a Champion of the Parish early. And then Brimstone Volley is basically a more expensive Searing Sphere, so I'd rather have the mass removal effects of Museum Mortars, Ratchet Bomb, and Rolling Tumbler over Volley. And again, just sideboarding out Burning Earth and then moving out the Hell Riders, because I just do not think that this matchup is going to be Hell Rider centric.
Makes sense to me. We'll see what Herrera decides to do. Excuse me. If you're just joining us, you're in time to catch Game 2 of the semifinals here. Yeah, good call on tuning in right now, because Game 2 of the semifinals about to start here between Joe Herrera and Michael Defiore. Joe on Mono Red and Michael on the Aristocrats. Mono Red kind of a surprise this weekend, at least as far as it making it to the semifinals. And the Aristocrats, it's a classic version with minor changes. We've got 4 copies of Zath Necromancer as an include on a very human-centric, not to be confused with Cedric.
Yes.
It's not a human Cedric deck.
I wish it were. I like my own deck. There's no goblins in there, though,
Cedric.
so yeah, there's no goblins in there, so I'm not interested actually.
Mutavault, not in that deck.
No Mutavaults.
There's goblins on the other side, though. Mutavault.
That's true. I am currently present in a deck. So is Todd. So is Brad. So is
That's right.
every other SCG token.
That's right. With the creature types. Yep. So we're underway. We've got a turn 1 Mountain from Herrera, and a turn 1 Blood Crypt from Defiore.
Not a white source from turn 1 for Defiore. Maybe he kept a bit of a sketcher or something of that nature. I mean, no white man on turn 1. That means nothing for champion. Anything like that.
See a Champion of the Parish there. There's the white source. And there's a Gather the Townsfolk.
And I think a card like that's probably not going to scare Herrera very much at all after sideboard. And he has a lot of ways to be able to get stuff like that off of the board. And there's the Moo Cow and Boros Reckoner.
Boros Reckoner comes down to threaten to do battle with Patrick Chapin and Patrick Chapin.
Defiore wants to navigate things again. You know, last game he was able to draw a Dreadbore to take care of Boros Reckoner. Again, he has 4 Tragic Slips and 1 Dreadbore in his main deck, and no additional removal in his sideboard to be able to get this off of the table. So, you know, I expect Boros Reckoner again to be able to do a nice job of holding down the fort while Herrera gets everything else from his deck set up.
A Skursdag High Priest is the play on turn 3 from Defiore, who misses his 3rd land drop.
That's pretty big.
Passes the turn. There's a Ratchet Bomb, I believe I see, in Herrera's hand.
Ratchet Bomb, actually, you know, the other application I hadn't even considered in the matchup is that if Skursdag High Priest does get active and pumps out a Daemon, Ratchet Bomb can actually take care of that too.
Yeah.
So, Ratchet Bomb is going to play a huge role in sideboarding games here.
So, Reckoner's going to get frisky, comes over for 3, knocks Defiore to 17, and for 4 mana, I see a Planeswalker. Chandra Pyromaster comes down immediately, shoots down one of the tokens on the other side of the board, going up to 5 loyalty.
Chandra Pyromaster reminds me of I'm gonna get, you know, barbecued for saying this. Reminds me of Jason the Mind Sculptor.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why before you guys all attack me at home is because when Jason the Mind Sculptor originally got released, I think everyone understood his power level, but didn't have a home right away. It took a little while for it to, you know, find a home because Jund was such a big prevalent thing with Blightnings and Blood Braids and all that stuff. And, you know, it started to find a home, and then once those cards rotated, then it dominated Standard and Callblade and everything else that it did. And Mythic Inscription, and, you know, it was just the best card, and it still is one of the best cards of all time. I don't think Chandra Pyromaster is going to be of that level, but I think the similarities of it's not going to find a home right away. This is its current home, but I think that, you know, post-rotation, a card of this power level has to find a home somewhere because the 0 ability is just off the charts powerful.
They said some similar things about Koth, and
Sure.
he had a lot of trouble finding a home. Like, he was around, but it was...
I was always frustrated that Koth was never a great card.
It was. It seemed like such a great card, or it is a great card in a vacuum, but it just didn't see a lot of play. So, Defiore plays a Cartel Aristocrat and attacks into Joe Herrera for 2 with his High Priest and his token. Declines to attack the Chandra. And now for Herrera's turn, he plays a 5th land, which is a Mutavault, and is now attacking with Boros Reckoner, which Defiore is going to allow to hit him. So he goes to 13. Chandra is going to take out the other token. Chandra up to 6 loyalty now.
The only real issue with Chandra is that the ultimate just isn't that good.
Right.
You know, it's okay, but I feel like you're gonna up Chandra a couple times and then start using the zero ability. The zero ability almost to me feels like the ultimate. It's just the ability that you're gonna use the most.
A Ratchet Bomb is the play from Herrera post-combat. He puts a counter on top of his library as a little reminder. He does appear to want to level up that Ratchet Bomb, which is understandable considering his opponent has two casting cost permanents in play.
Yeah. No real big right now. Herrera has in play he has a Ratchet Bomb at the ready. He's got the Chandra at the ready too. He has a Brimstone Volley in his hand currently at the moment. As you see, Defiore cast a Doom Traveler and kind of forcing Herrera's hand on, do you want to use removal spell? He's going to take a look at the High Priest, and what I think he's going to want to do is just use Brimstone Volley in response right now, just to take care of that. We'll probably see Cartel Aristocrat sacrifices to give pro red, but I like what Herrera can do, let that resolve, let the Doom Traveler resolve, and then the problem with that is Defiore can pick and choose on when he wants to move.
Right.
For trying to get a morbid activation out of the High Priest. The issue there for Defiore, however, is that even if he does get the Demon, again, it would involve him sacrificing Doom Traveler. He'd get a Spirit Token, and then he'd have two things to blow up with Ratchet Bomb. The Demon
right.
and then the Spirit Token. So I think either way you look at it, it's all upside here for Herrera in this situation.
Yeah, he'd be in a little bit of a situation where he'd have a lot of decisions to make where if Defiore doesn't move, right away there, and Herrera puts a counter on the Ratchet Bomb, then Defiore moves and says, your Ratchet Bomb doesn't deal with my token.
Yep.
So it was the Brimstone Volley was the play, though. It takes out the High Priest. Cartel Aristocrat knocks Chandra down to 4 loyalty there.
We saw Herrera put a die on top of his deck for Ratchet Bomb, I believe.
I thought so, too.
And then, as he went to his draw step, he took it off, maybe signifying that he doesn't want to up it anymore, which I'm a touch surprised about.
Especially considering he killed the High Priest, right?
Yes.
Like, maybe he, reads the High Priest and goes, okay, I don't want to put a counter on my Ratchet Bomb because if there's a demon, then I can kill it. But he killed the High Priest and then didn't put it on his Ratchet Bomb. So
here's a Hell Rider,
which he apparently did not side out, at least one of.
He's going to activate Mutavault too, so looks like he's going to be getting into the red zone here in a big way.
So, Boros Reckoner, Hell Rider, Mutavault, all attacking. That's 3 right there just from the declaration of attackers. Now, Doom Traveler is going to appear to get in front of the Boros Reckoner, which I think I might put it in front of the Hell Rider.
Well, I think what he's going to do here is he's going to block there, sacrifice to the Cartel Aristocrats.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he's going to prevent 3 damage either way.
Yeah.
He's going to end up taking 5 from the rest of the attackers getting through. And that Ratchet Bomb is going to be looming, and I think we're going to see Chandra take down the Spirit Token and deal 1 to Defiore as well.
That's exactly what happens. Chandra and Herrera team up to knock Defiore to 3 this turn.
Again, multiple angles of attack here for Herrera. He's getting with the creatures. There's some pings of damage with Hell Rider, and then Chandra's kind of taking care of the one-toughness creatures. Not a great draw from Defiore, obviously, stuck on 2 lands. But, if Herrera's actually able to get online like that when they're playing a much more normal game, I think he's actually going to be able to do okay in the matchup.
Yeah, so Defiore falls in Game 2. Herrera evens it up. A game apiece here in the semifinals of the StarCityGames.com Standard Open in Baltimore. We will, of course, be bringing you guys another Open Series tournament in just a couple of hours. We've got Legacy for you today.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of Legacy.
Just a lot of it. Just a lot of it.
Lots of Legacy.
We know at least one person is playing Shardless Bug. That's Jerry Thompson. We know he's playing that. Don't know what some other people are playing. Todd, Brad, BBD, CVM.
BBD Orzhov Guildgate deck, I think.
Oh, you think he's going to run it back?
Oh, that would be interesting. A Legacy black-white, just, I mean, why not?
Yeah. Chris Pakula's here, Dead Guy Ale.
Yeah, there you go.
He could do it with 1 Orzhov Guildgate. Somehow couldn't find another land to play. Hey, tough times. Tough times.
I don't know if Chris is playing today or not. He does seem to show up more often for Legacy.
Saw Chris on Twitter. He was asking for cards.
So I imagine he's trying to make it here.
Yeah,
that's interesting that he was asking for cards.
Yes.
Because he usually plays Delver.
He was asking for Forgotten Cave, Devastating Dreams. So he was asking for a little like it looks like he's playing some sort of loam deck.
Yeah, aggro loam or some sort of life from the
With
loam
any
deck.
luck, there's Astral Slide in there, but I can't imagine that's actually true. But that would be sweet if it were. That's actually one of my favorite cards too.
Astral Slide?
Yeah.
I didn't play that card that much when it was around.
Actually,
I was playing
big
goblins
fan.
back then, actually.
Oh, you were the enemy.
I was very big into goblins. I'm the enemy playing goblins, says Cedric Phillips.
Yeah, you were the enemy. Like, I really liked Astral Slide when I was younger, like a lot.
It's very, very odd for both of us, I think, because Astral Slide was the control.
Yeah.
And goblins, obviously.
I was experiencing a bit of an identity crisis.
Yeah.
When I was younger, so.
I just hadn't gotten into control decks by then. You know, I was still just I liked the aggro decks.
Believe it or not, I used to play Psychotog a lot at my local store.
Mm-hmm.
And then Astral Slide. I'm never a big Mirari's Weight guy, but I did like Psychotog a lot. And yeah, I'll never do that again because that was just a mistake. Blue is just stupid. Quick update for you guys in the other match. Tom Hertfelder is up a game with his Jund deck against Charles Johnson playing Junk Aristocrats. So,
yeah.
That's not too surprising to me. I think that Jund is very good against Junk Aristocrats.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly build dependent on how well Junk Aristocrats is going to do against Jund. I think the Brad's version that we saw a little bit earlier yesterday that had Desecration Demon, it had Locks on Smite. I think that version that has more raw power is better against Jund, because I think you're fighting them in a way that you actually defeat them. But with the more synergy-laden version that Charles Johnson's playing, which we saw yesterday in the quarterfinals, I think it's going to be tough for him to be able to win.
Yeah, Jund able to break up those synergies.
Yeah.
So these guys are looking like they're about to get underway. We're doing the old shuffle the opponent's library. So mono red with the red sleeves.
To tell.
It is.
Red headphones, too.
Wow. Maybe he didn't have red headphones yesterday. Maybe they were a different color.
Red pen. Definitely red pen.
Yeah, just everything.
Oh, yeah, it's a lock. It may not look like those stripes on his shirt are red.
Yeah,
It's just our cameras are out of focus. It's our fault. We're sorry.
Little desaturation.
Can you guys fix
patch
that?
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Can you fix the stripes on his shirt? No? Okay. Our show directors are not in a good mood this morning. So.
They haven't had their bowl of eggs, which I think Choi did have a bowl of eggs.
The Defiore is going to be on the play, which is like a really important spot for him to be in. Actually, it looks like he's taking a mulligan right now.
It does look like that.
So he's going to be starting at least on 6 cards. But his deck is the aggressive one in this matchup. He's the one to get things started off with the champion of the parish. Hopefully for him, not another Buddy Land draw. Like, he hasn't really gotten out of the gates very quickly. So for him to be moving even to a game 3 right now is kind of impressive.
So, my question for you is, when you look at this, anybody looking and seeing, okay, it's mono red versus the aristocrats. Mono red's the aggressive deck, right? I mean, that's what you'd think.
That's what you would think, yeah.
So what's kind of explain that?
Oh, I mean, just the mono red take here is just a much more mid-rangey approach. I think the reason that this deck exists again is to prey on mid-range and control decks, but specific ones. It's trying to beat Jund and trying to beat blue red flash. Like, I don't think this mono red deck is actually very good against the blue white deck.
Okay.
Just because the blue white deck doesn't effectively lose to Burning Earth and the rest of the things that this deck is doing. I think that blue white lines up very, very well against.
Certainly gains a lot of life.
Yeah, I think it lines up fantastic against those strategies. What this deck does is it's, for lack of a better term, a metagame deck. It's trying to prey on certain strategies. It's not this deck that's like incredibly well-rounded and can beat everything. If it runs into a matchup that's kind of poor, it's going to get decimated by it because its cards just don't line up correctly. I'd be curious to talk to Joe to see exactly what he's played against over the course of the weekend and see if it's just his matchups fell into place. That being said, yeah, this is not an aggressive take on mono. You're not going to find Cacklers or Nobles.
Right, actually 0 1-drops aside from Pillar of Flame in the entire 75.
Yeah, this is much more of a big red type deck, and there are some formats where this type of strategy can thrive. Again, I think that it's just a metagame matchup dependent deck. If you run into like a blue-white's like the really big example. Like if you play against blue-white or like if you play against Sifka's blue-black deck, I can't imagine the mono-red deck ever winning. But if you play against Jund to help him out, or you play against Blue-Red Flash or some of the other mid-range strategies, I think you're going to be probably pretty good to go. I mean, Herrera did defeat the green-black rock deck in the quarterfinals, so the Desecration Demon deck with the Mutilates and stuff like that. And I can actually see him being pretty good against that deck too, because he's able to just kind of control everything, and he doesn't really care about Thragtusk as much as a normal red deck would. That being said, I think this matchup is mediocre for him game 1. It certainly gets much better game 2 and game 3 because he has all of those master removal spells and Ratchet Bomb, Rolling Tumbler, and Museum Orders. And it certainly doesn't hurt that his opponent, Defiore, is taking a mulligan to 5 right now either.
We saw Charles Johnson advance to the semis off a mulligan to 5 last night. Let's
True.
see if Defiore can advance to the finals in game 3 off a mulligan to 5 here. Oh, he says okay after dropping his shoulder.
Doesn't look like a thrilled okay.
No, it doesn't. I think he said okay. Maybe I was reading his lips wrong, but he does not look very happy with his 5. So he hasn't committed yet, I don't think. And it looks like he's about to commit to the board. So okay. Godless Shrine. We're underway. So Defiore keeps his 5. Mountain from Herrera.
It's the intangible virtue of the hand. All right, he's got 2 lands and a Sacred Foundry, so he's got his colors and he's got 2 lands. So he's off to a decent start here, and there's an intangible virtue.
Turn 2, Herrera plays a Mountain and a Ratchet Bomb.
Yeah.
So
that card's actually absolutely fantastic in this matchup. Really, really good.
So he puts a die on the top of his library to remind himself, but wonder what he's thinking. So we've got double Doomed Traveler here from Defiore, and Herrera decides he does want to put a die on the Ratchet Bomb, so it ticks up to 1. Herrera draws his card for the turn. He does have a land drop.
I wonder if he's going to want that bomb on 1. I'm a little bit surprised that he picked it up right away.
Yeah, me too, because you kill the 2 1/1s and he ends up with 2 2s.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 2s you don't have an answer for, at least not obviously so.
Yeah, not yet. Ratchet Bomb management is certainly going to be interesting in this matchup because he could just be looking to move it up to 2. 2 could be a sweet spot in this matchup. Again, there's Cartel Aristocrat, Blood Artist, the Intangible Virtue that's already in play, Skirstack High Priest as well. So maybe 2 is exactly where Herrera wants things after sideboard.
So he plays his 3rd land and declines to play anything else, passes the turn back to Defiore, who untaps and now immediately swings in with those 2 Doom Travelers, knocking Herrera to 18. Defiore plays a Clifftop Retreat and says go. So no play on turn 3 from either player. Now Herrera appears to want to tick up that Ratchet Bomb up to 2. Draws his card for the turn, checks for a miracle. It's a Mountain instead, I think.
Not going to find one. Got Chandra Power Master in his hand.
And I believe we're going to see that right now. There goes the Mountain, and, well, here comes the Planeswalker.
Yep.
So Chandra Pyromaster for the 2nd time this match. I'm going to see if the tag team of Joe Herrera and Chandra Pyromaster can take down Defiore in this game.
Pretty good team.
It is nice to have a buddy on board.
Yeah. Interesting to see how he wants to use the Chandra this turn.
Yeah, he appears to not be totally sure how he wants to do things. So if he kills a Doom Traveler, which he doesn't do, he actually decides to go upstairs to knock Defiore to 17, but declines to shoot a Doom Traveler. Yeah, if he were to shoot a Doom Traveler, Defiore would have a 2/2 token over there. He could wipe away the Intangible Virtue, but it would just leave Defiore with a Spirit and a Doom Traveler on board. So, Doom Traveler's swinging in for Defiore, who misses his 4th land drop, but connects with the Doom Travelers, knocking Herrera to 16. Chandra still on 5 loyalty. Herrera now does have his 5th Mountain, which he plays, and I imagine it's Thundermaw time.
Is this the first Thundermaw we've seen?
This is
weekend?
the first.
Yep.
This weekend? Yeah, actually. Oh my gosh, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen Thundermaw all weekend.
Which is like unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
Being one of the best cards in Standard quite easily.
Pretty insane. So Thundermaw comes down and immediately attacks. No surprise there. Defiore down to 12. Herrera uses Chandra, puts her up to 6, and pings Defiore to 11.
No interest in taking care of the Doom Travelers, which I like quite a bit.
Yeah, he's just leaving the 1/1s for 1 all alone. Completely ignoring them. Intangible Virtue doing nothing, and if it were doing something, Herrera has a backup answer to that. So Defiore on the back foot does have a 4th land now, Slayer's Stronghold, which in concert with a couple of other guys took out Herrera during game 1. So we'll see if he can use it to his advantage here in game 3 of the semifinals. Defiore in the tank here.
Just really bad position for him. Again, this is a deck that the Aristocrats is built on a lot of synergies, so it's not a deck that mulligans incredibly well. Certainly doesn't mulligan the 5 very well, because then you just have 2 less cards to try to get towards those synergies. And then you're relying on basically perfect draw steps to do the things that you want to do with Cartel Aristocrat and High Priest and Champion of the Parish draws and stuff like that. So it's a deck that you don't want to take too many mulligans with. Obviously, there are times where things just don't work out. You don't have a choice but to take mulligans. You see a Slayer Stronghold activation here. See where those Doom Travelers are going. But it's just it's a difficult spot when you take a mulligan to 5 with any deck, but more so with a deck that's so synergy laden like this one is.
So Defiore connects for 4 there with Herrera's life total, completely ignoring the Chandra.
Which I think is smart.
I agree.
Yeah, you're not going to get any work. Like, if you're just taking your time attacking the Chandra, you're not actually accomplishing anything. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what Herrera would want you to do. Is just, keep attacking this. It doesn't actually matter. I'm just going to kill you with my Dragon and the rest of the cards in my hand.
So Defiore takes another hit from that Thundermaw Hellkite, falls to 6, and that means Chandra draws a card for Herrera, and it is a 6th land, and a Searing Spear, and a Searing Spear, and Defiore falls to Joe Herrera in 2 games here in the in 3 games, 2 games to 1, here in the semifinals of the StarCityGames.com Open Series live from Baltimore. So.